Hello, invaders. It's the Martian Skylar Mars here today with a very special edition of the Mars TV podcast. Oh, who am I kidding? Every edition is a special edition when it comes to the Mars TV podcast. We're going to ask some tough people some tough questions, and we're going to start off with a luchador who's actually competed in Lucha Underground and all over the country and in the U.S. and in Mexico, if anywhere else that I can't name off the top of my head. Ladies and gentlemen, formerly known as Sinestro De La Muerte, we have Mariachi Loco. Mariachi, thank you for coming to the show.
Hola amigos, hey, thank you guys for having me again. Like I said, I enjoy podcasts, I enjoy your show, and what better way to say hello than having este pinche loco.
Very true, and it's kind of strange talking to Mariachi Loco because I heard about you before I knew you were Sinestro De La Muerte, so to find out that you two were the same person, it was very strange to me.
Complete opposites, right?
Exactly. I mean, that was one of the many questions I had for you is, how weird is it to switch from one character to the next, considering they're complete opposites?
You know what? In the beginning, it was a little. It wasn't very much difficult. It was just a little different. I obviously work as Mariachi Loco in independent scene, so I'm very flamboyant. I'm very out there. I move a lot, and it's way different to calm it down and just tone it down a little bit. I mean, I didn't do a lot of lucha moves, especially as Sinestro. And even before that, I was kind of heelish when I was running as Mariachi Loco and Lucha Underground for the first 4 episodes that I was in. So it was a little different.
And from my understanding, from my episode I did with Marty the Moth Martinez, they usually come to you with the character that they'd like you to play. Was this the first character that they suggested for you?
Yeah, actually, this was right after Mariachi, and of course, a lot of the names that they pitched you is obviously their names. So they just wanted a group of little minions, minions that are going to be next to Mil Muertes, which is amazing.
Hello?
This is coming from the office and coming from Rompito. I mean, they chose us. Again, I was working as El Mariachi Loco, a little more heelish when I first started I enjoyed the run. It was pretty cool. The vignettes and favorite part was carrying those hearts out of those guys. But it was something that they pitched, and we went with it.
And you worked with two men known as Trece and Barrio Negro, if I have that correctly. And they were both...
Negro, that's correct.
Barrio Negro, good. Even though I'm Puerto Rican, my Spanish is not that great. Anyways, and they, as yourself, were both taken off Lucha Underground. And just out of curiosity, first of all, could we possibly see Mariachi Loco step into the temple?
Who knows? You gotta keep watching, man. Can't say much, can't say less.
And on the opposite side, I remember seeing a post from you on Instagram and Facebook. It was you wearing the Sinestro mask, but it looks like you were in the entrance stage of an independent promotion. Are we going to see Sinestro De La Muerte running around the independent scene?
I don't remember that, but I think it was just me standing in front of the actual temple, but it was in a different location. It was just me putting on the outfit right before I actually went out. So unfortunately, I can't use Sinestro outside. It's all Lucha Underground. So until I get the green light to do it, I'm more than happy to do it. But he's dead right now, so he has no use for me.
I see. And was it disappointing to find out that your character was going to be killed off of Lucha Underground?
Yeah, I mean, it always sucks when they kill you off. But it's not because of me. It's usually not because of the actual people that are playing the part. They just have storylines they have to follow, and of course, hopefully in the future they got something else from me. So it's I could have done more with the character, but again, there's always plans for more. So I had no bad feelings. I wasn't really upset because I mean I trust Lucha Underground and the way things are running, they always come up with something good. So I'm just waiting for them to give me what's next.
Of course, and from my understanding, Lucha Underground runs very differently from most other wrestling promotions, and you're definitely a very traveled man. So, how do you feel Lucha Underground is different as opposed to working in other promotions?
Well, working with them again, it's a TV program, so there's certain things you have to follow, certain things you have to go by. You got to make sure your timing's right. You got to make sure everything is the way they want it, and versus I mean anything goes. I could have a 5 minute match to a 30 minute match, 30 minute match to an hour. So it was obviously in the Indies, and then again Lucha Underground. You gotta stick with your time. But overall, I mean it's a great experience because you get to work with TV. You recognize the camera angles. You're able to work with an audience that knows exactly what's a storyline. It's just Indies. I mean, they just throw you out there and then they just give them a match and give them hell. So that's the only main difference. But overall, I mean, they're both great. In the Indies, you get to do a lot more than you'll do in a television show.
I mean, I got to imagine that the exposure was very helpful to getting your name out there.
Help me not saying who I was, because again, promoters were asking me if I was still in it, if I was still in Lucha Underground, and obviously people didn't see Mariachi Loco in there. So as soon as I kind of went publicly, when I mean publicly on Facebook and on Twitter, I let people know that I'm still there as Sinestro De La Muerte, and the bookings obviously came with a blessing. So I mean, working there helps out a lot.
I have to imagine. And Lucha Underground, from my understanding, because trying to get into the business of Lucha Underground is very difficult. It's kind of hard to figure out how it runs. But from my understanding, it has some sort of business relationship with AAA. Did you ever do any traveling with AAA shows like a lot of the other Lucha Underground stars have done?
No, not yet. They've reached out to me, but I haven't been able to work with them as of right now. But yeah, I mean, everyone has the opportunity to go. We work very closely. Just choosing a few that go to the shows. Seen Triple Mania, so but I mean, there is opportunity, and I'm sure there's going to be more opportunities later on. Hopefully they could do some type of Lucha Underground AAA angle where everyone is in a big pay-per-view. Hopefully versus AAA versus the Lucha Underground guys. That's just me wishful thinking, of course.
I mean, you can wish away. This is a sport where you really have to want it and dream it. And really, one of the things I was very curious about is you're the first man I've interviewed who wrestles under a mask. And I understand this is very traditional in lucha wrestling. But my curiosity is, what would bring you to want to wrestle under a mask as opposed to just wrestling?
Well, the first time I wrestling or lucha was obviously Lucha Libre, and I fell in love with the style that Lucha Libre brings. I mean, the whole mask, the capes, the entrances. I mean, it was just amazing how these guys could put on a mask and perform all these cool acrobatics, and it was just amazing. And again, just the colors. When I first started training, that's the first thing that came to mind. Just finding a cool mask, finding something to wear, just to be able to use it. And after learning exactly what the mask is, there's more pride, I guess, if I make any sense, but using a mask is just something that there's just you leave like a legacy or a lineage behind you, and again, you know that the Lucha Libre tradition too. There's always the juniors or the seconds or the hijos. So I mean that's pretty cool. I mean I want to follow tradition, and it was hard to put on that mask for the first time because it's kind of hard to look around and those little holes next to your eyes.
That I've always heard is I have myself have been very curious to the mask and lucha and what it really represents. And um, I asked you once through Facebook, what does it truly mean to be a luchador, as compared to just being a wrestler? Um, to you, what does being referred to as a luchador differ from being referred to as a wrestler?
Um, in my opinion, I think there's a lot to be a luchador. You have to kind of know your bases on everything: mat wrestling, being able to fly, being able to adapt to every other wrestling. There is a Japanese style, American style. You're kind of out there, and you gotta again be able to learn every single type of wrestling out there. So being a luchador it's very how would you say that very you got to work every style. You got to work the left hand, the right hand. You got to be able to adapt to everyone. Because I mean, if you go to Japan and you want to wrestle there, you got to wrestle their style. Same thing with American style. You got to be able to adapt to their style. If you want to make it to somewhere like the WWE, of course, if you're a luchador, hey, guess what? You got to learn that style. So it's just something that you have to be universal. You have to be able to know everything. You got to make sure that you're when you're a smaller guy, you got to learn how to get away from all of these guys and be able to go toe to toe with these guys. So I mean, it's just something that it says it on luchador, gladiator, gladiador. So it's pretty tough being a luchador because you gotta keep up with everyone.
It does make a lot of sense. It does seem that luchadors averagely have a more versatile move set and have more, I guess, creative matches than most wrestlers. But it seems that, as of recent, those differences are kind of blurring as wrestlers everywhere are just getting better and better.
Yeah, you got to keep up with the sport because I mean, there's all these guys like Ricochet, guys like Will Ospreay. It's their style is just out of there. They're their own style of wrestling, which is a hybrid of lucha and a hybrid of American. So it's you gotta stay in the game, and you gotta keep up with a lot of these guys. So it's a difficult game to be in.
And now speaking of Will Ospreay, who wrestles in Japan, you wrestle a lot down in the Southwest, and I believe you've done a little bit of traveling through Mexico. I could be wrong, though. But one thing I'm curious about is where are some places you'd like to go, and what could we possibly see in the future for Mariachi Loco?
Oh, man, I would love to go anywhere. I mean, England, Japan, Canada, of course. It's the big countries where wrestling is alive. Hopefully in the future, Mexico. I mean, I haven't been to Mexico yet. As far as wrestling goes, but I could start anywhere. I mean, then will be my year where I can actually travel out of the United States. Yeah, I've traveled around these areas, the Southwest areas. So hopefully those areas are available for me in the near future. Hopefully, very very soon. So just anywhere where the wrestling's alive again. Japan, England, Germany, Canada, Mexico. Shoot, even in the States, I'd love to go anywhere around the States.
And now, one thing that is very curious to me is Mariachi Loco is a very unique gimmick, and I'm curious as to, well, okay, it's a very unique character. Some people don't like the word gimmick. Where did you come up with this?
It's funny though. It's when I first started training, I always wanted to be some type of octagon character, like octagon, kind of like a sort of like a ninja sort of thing. But going through training, they it's like don't come up with anything. With time, you'll learn what your character would be. And of course, after I started training and I start getting to get closer to my debut, I had no idea what I wanted to be. I have no clue what gear should I wear. I wasn't going to wear those regular combat shorts or what they call backyard gear. But I actually, my first match, I remember they geared me up in Skylar's gear. Hopefully he doesn't hear this because I'd probably get in trouble. But I wore his gear and I wrestled as Ultrataro, and I worked maybe that character for maybe about 3 weeks, and then they scrapped it. Again, this is my training school. After that, I went from that character to Spider-Man, which I wasn't having it. It was just horrible. After that, I went in a character like a vampire character, and it wasn't going the way I wanted to go, and it wasn't flowing. Finally, they sat me down and asked me what I wanted to do. I had no clue. They literally walked into the closet. They got this suitcase. In this suitcase was a red gear, red mask character with trumpets on the forehead, and they asked me if I wanted to do this character. They introduced me to El Mariachi Loco, something they used. They had someone use this before I did, but they only used it like in fairs, Mexican fairs and fiesta fairs, stuff like that. I wasn't really super excited about it. I was just kind of like, okay, that's another dumb gimmick that I'm gonna have to work, and I'm gonna have to dump it after a couple weeks or a month or so. And I said, heck, well, whatever, let's do it. Let's see how far it goes. They gave me the gear. I put it on. Okay, whatever. But there's a song to this character. The song actually is an old mariachi song. It's basically called El Mariachi Loco, and the song goes, El Mariachi Loco quiere bailar. Basically, El Mariachi Loco wants to dance. I started listening to the lyrics. I started wrestling. I'm like, okay, let's see how this is gonna go. Let me put that song in the character and in the wrestling ring. Started doing moves, then dancing moves with my wrestling, and slowly, I kind of adapted myself with this character. And after a while, I just fell in love with it. The kids loved it, the women loved it, the guys were just nuts about it because I could kind of wrestle, I guess. But it's something that was handed to me by accident, and I've been working with it since then, and I've been enjoying it until I actually put effort into this gimmick. So that's how I got this name. It wasn't something that I created. It was something that was given to me, and I've been carrying it with me for quite some time now.
That's actually very fascinating, as we hear a lot of different gimmicks were dropped onto someone by accident, and they just kind of started to take off. I guess we could add this one to the list. Now, one last thing I wanted to ask before we cut off the end of the episode is what I ask every guest I bring onto the show is, what tips do you have for someone trying to break in to the wrestling business?
I'm going to tell you something that my first teacher told me. I don't know if you know him, but his name is Little Cholo.
That does sound very familiar, actually.
The first thing he told me was shut up and listen. And it works so well for me. Whenever someone's speaking, a teacher's talking to you, an instructor's talking to you, a trainer's talking to you, just shut up and then just listen to what he has to say, because he knows why he's saying it, and you'll get it once you know what he meant. So I mean, something that I always tell everyone too: just shut up and listen.
All right, and thank you very much, Mariachi, again for agreeing to be on the show.
Well, thank you guys. This is awesome.
All right, and do you have anything that you'd like to plug or announce or, I guess, promote before you'd like to leave the program?
Well, I'm on my way to a wrestling event, so, I mean, I don't know how much this is going to count, but I'm going to a Lucha Libre show in Inglewood. See you guys there, but just follow me on Facebook. You'll see a lot of my stuff there. Follow me on Twitter. I'll post some of the stuff. I'm very active on Instagram. Mariachi_Loco. You'll find me there for majority of your days. I post a lot there, and then again, any information you'll need to know is just go to my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
All right, and thank you very much for coming on to the program. This is Skylar Mars, and we'll see you again next time.